This problem is somewhat of a puzzle. We are given long-term debt ratio, which is defined as the ratio of long-term debt to the sum of long-term debt and plus equity. That is 0.45, a current ratio, which is the ratio of current assets to current liabilities. We are given the values of current liabilities and sales. We know the profit margin and we know ROE. Given all this, we need to kind of hunt down firm's net fixed assets. Well, looking at the problem, it looks like we're going to have to use standard balance sheet identity to figure out net fixed assets, which means I'm going to have to figure out total assets. And it looks like I may be able to figure out current assets, given that I know the current liabilities and current ratio. So let's try to figure out the value of total assets. Now, using accounting identity, total assets equals sum of current liabilities plus long-term debt plus total equity. We only know current liabilities, so we gotta somehow figure out a way to find out values of total equity and long-term debt. Well, among things that we're given, what has equity in it? Well, return on equity. What is that? Net income over total equity. Well, we don't know net income either, so let's try to hunt that down. But we are given the value of sales and the profit margin, which allows me to figure out that net income is sales times profit margin. Now that I know net income, I can figure out total equity. Since ROE is net income divided by total equity is net income divided by ROE. Next, we're going to have to figure out the long-term debt because we already know the current liabilities. For that, we're going to use a long-term debt ratio. We could either solve for long-term debt algebraically, which I am going to do here. That's going to be the long-term debt ratio times total equity divided by 1 minus long-term debt ratio. If you do not want to bother with that, let's use goal seek. Let's use the trial value for long-term debt. For now, let's put in 500. Given that, we can calculate, I'm going to simply call that LDR, trial. That would be long-term debt divided by long-term debt plus total equity. Of course, that's not dollars. Difference between the trial version and the actual version is that. Our goal is now to use goal seek to make that difference 0 by changing the trial. As you can see, we got exactly the same number. Now we're in a position to calculate total assets, which is long-term debt plus current liabilities plus total equity. Well, if we can figure out current assets, we're home. And that's going to be easy to do. Current assets are current ratio times current liabilities. Hence, net fixed asset is the difference between total assets and current assets.